We have seen different properties in the previous section. Now, in this section, we'll continue with the time domain convolution. Okay. So, what is the time domain convolution? If x of n corresponds to x of omega and y of n corresponds to y of omega, then z of n is equal to convolution of x of n with y of n transforms into z of omega is equal to x of omega. Okay, x of n translates into x of omega and y of n translates into y of omega. Okay, therefore convolution in the time domain transforms into multiplication in the Fourier domain. Okay, just like in the Z transform, same analogy we are going to prove this theorem. Look here, let us start with Z of omega. What's your Z of omega? Z of omega is equal to summation n varying from minus infinity to plus infinity Z of n into e power minus j omega n. This is equal to n varying from minus infinity to plus infinity x of n convolved with y of n into e power minus j omega n. Now let us write what is x of n convolved with y of n. First, summation will remain unchanged. N varies from minus infinity to plus infinity. And what is x of n convolved with y of n? X of k into y of n minus k. It's the same convolution formula which we have studied in the module 2. Therefore, I have summation k varies from minus infinity to plus infinity, x of k into y of n minus k, and that is multiplied with e power minus j omega n. This is equal to, let us put m is equal to n minus, m is equal to n minus k. When you put m equal to n minus k and interchange the order of summation, okay, so this summation whichever you have will bring this side, and this summation whatever I have will bring this side. Therefore, whatever I have is summation k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of k. Now what I will do, I'll put n minus k is equal to m. Therefore, I'll write y of m into e power minus j omega n is equal to, from this one, m plus k. So this is equal to m plus k. Okay. Now what happens? It's a very simple step. See here, e power minus j omega m into e power minus j omega k I have. So first one is left with only with e power minus j omega n. See here, this one. So I'm written it separately, y of m into e power minus j omega m, and second one x of k into e power minus j omega k. This will give me x of k into e power minus j omega k is nothing but x of omega, and y of m into e power minus j omega m is y of omega. Therefore, z of omega is equal to x of omega into y of omega. So convolution in the time domain translates into multiplication in the Fourier domain. So same property we have seen in the continuous time Fourier transform also, and we have seen in the Fourier series also, and now we are seeing in the discrete time Fourier transform. Okay, the same property was also hold good in Z transform. Okay, so whatever proof you know in Z domain directly can be translated. Only difference is Z should be replaced by e power j omega. Other than that, there is no difference between the both of these examples. Did you follow the proof? Any doubt you have in the previous proof? Are you able to follow this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let us look into the opposite way. Multiplication or modulation theorem. This also we have proven in the previous section. Let us understand this one. X of n translates to x of omega and y of n translates to y of omega. Then z of n is equal to x of n multiplication with y of n. See here, it is multiplication that translates into Z of n translates to Z of omega, and this multiplication translates into convolution of x of omega with y of omega, and that is divided by 1 by that is divided by 2 pi. Remember, whatever I shown you here, it is like not normal convolution, but a circle with a convolution. This is known as circular convolution or a periodic convolution. Why you are going to get a periodic convolution in this problem? Look here, in the previous one, we had convolution in the time domain translates to multiplication in the frequency domain that we have seen in the previous case. Now it is exactly opposite. Multiplication in the time domain translates to convolution in the frequency domain, but only difference is it is periodic convolution. Why it is periodic convolution is, convolution is performed over one period. Why it is performed over one period is, your signal is periodic in nature. Remember, x of n is an aperiodic discrete time signal, but x of omega, when you perform the Fourier transform, it becomes a continuous time periodic signal. Once it becomes a periodic signal, there is no need to evaluate over entire period. So I will consider only one period, and over one period, this convolution is performed, and that is normalized by dividing by 2 pi. Now, Z of omega is equal to summation n varies from minus infinity to plus infinity, Z of n e power minus j omega n. That is equal to, once again, summation from minus infinity to plus infinity. Z of n is nothing but x of n into y of n e power minus j omega n. Now, what is the definition of I dt of t? Now, instead of x of n, we will write its equivalent in inverse dt of t. What is inverse dt of t? X of n is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral for a period of 2 pi x of omega e power j omega d omega. Oh, sorry, it is n is missing here. Then you have to add x of omega e power j omega n d omega. Now what happens? Don't assume that plus e power j omega n minus e power minus j omega n will cancel. What you have to do is you have to make change of variable. So put equation 2 in 1. Put equation 2, substitute what is the value of x of n in equation n, but only one thing is, instead of omega, you use some other variable. Otherwise, what happens? It is e power j omega n here, e power minus j omega n will get cancelled. No term should get cancelled. That is a rule. Therefore, what I will do, I written here, putting 2 in 1 and making change of variable, whatever I have is, z of omega is equal to summation n varies from minus infinity to plus infinity, and 1 by 2 pi x of n is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral for a period of 2 pi. Instead of omega, I have written beta. Therefore, x of beta e power j beta n d beta, okay, wherever omega, I have written beta, and other terms y of n into e power minus j omega n will remain unchanged. So never put e power plus j omega n. Make a change of variable while solving the summation, otherwise you will not end anywhere. Now what I will do, 1 by 2 pi is constant, I'll take outside, and x of beta for a period of beta I'll take outside. I'm interchanging the order of summation and integration and bring this summation inside. So how y of n e power j beta n into e power minus j omega n. Remember, d beta goes outside. So this is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral for a period of 2 pi x of beta summation from minus infinity to plus infinity y of n e power minus j. Okay, take common e power minus j, don't take plus j, because I want e power minus j omega n. So e power minus j, what is left here? Omega as it is, but instead of plus j I taken minus j. I'll write minus j into minus beta, so I have minus beta into n d beta. Did you follow the step? Or any doubt here in step equation 3 and subsequent 2 steps? Any doubt? Did you follow?
Yes, sir.
Did you follow this interchange? Whatever I done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this you are doing from past 3-4 times. Okay, Z transform, Fourier series, Fourier transform, CTFT and DTFT. Procedure remains unchanged, but only one thing is continuous and discrete are interchange. Now we have minus j into omega minus beta into n d beta. So this gives me 1 by 2 pi integral for a period of 2 pi x of beta, and what is this term? Y of n into e power minus j into omega minus beta into n. How can I write this term? How to write this term? Y of n into e power minus j omega minus beta into n. What does this will give you? What does this will give you? What is y of n into e power minus j omega n? Y of omega. But what is y of n into e power minus j into omega minus beta into n? Y of omega minus beta. Okay, so instead of y of omega, I have y of omega minus beta d beta. So this is equal to 1 by 2 pi, and this is nothing but x of beta into y of omega minus beta. That is nothing but x of k into y of n minus k. So it is like convolution. Therefore, what is the convolution variable? Omega. Remember, don't confuse integral variable with convolution variable. X of k into h of n minus k. Therefore, that is nothing but convolution of x of n with h of n. Similarly, it is other than integral variable. What is left here? Omega. Therefore, write omega here. X of omega convolved with y of omega. Since it is for a one complete period, I am showing you the circular convolution. Okay. Did you follow the proof? Any doubt you have? Any doubt?
So repeat that last step.
See here, x of beta, this you understood? X of beta into y of omega minus beta d beta. Did you follow this step?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So look here, x of k into h of n minus k, if I tell you, what will you understand? What is x of k? Convolution. Convolution of what with what?
X with h.
X of what?
K.
Input with system.
Input to the system. That is x of n with h of n or x of k with h of k? This is the very
With
important.
h of k.
Huh?
With h of k, sir.
X of, see here, what is the convolution formula saying you? X of n convolved with h of n is equal to summation x of k into h of n minus k. Correct? Did you
Sir.
know this? Okay. I'll repeat once again. Observe carefully. X of n convolved with h of n gives you x of k into h of n minus k. Now I'll tell you the opposite way. I will give you x of k into h of n minus k. What will you tell? X of k into h of n minus k, I'm giving you. What you can tell?
X of k into h of k.
X of k into h of n minus k, I'm giving you on the right hand side. What is this multiplication?
Sir, it is convolution.
Convolution of what with what? Yeah. Convolution of what signal with what signal?
Convolution of input signals, sir.
Correct. X with h I understood. X of n with h of n you have to tell.
Oh, yes, sir.
X of n with h of n. Therefore, so similarly here also it is x of beta into y of omega minus beta. Therefore, it should be convolution of x of omega with y of omega. That's what I want you to know. Understood? It is like x of k into h of n minus k. So once I'll say that x of n convolved with y of n. So instead of n, I have omega. That's what is the meaning. Understood? Kokila?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so don't write the integral variable. Integration is performed with respect to beta. Other than integral variable, what is there? Omega. So that should be the convolution variable. Okay, don't write beta in this answer. Write omega because beta is an integral variable. Omega is a convolution variable. That's why it performs convolution. But why I written circular convolution? Because the convolution is performed over one complete cycle. That is for 2 pi. That's why integral 2 pi I am not showing. I am writing it as circular convolution of x of omega with y of omega. Did you follow the proof?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'll go to Parseval's theorem. Parseval's theorem is generally important. They will ask you problems, both proof also. So hear me carefully. Now once again, if x of n translates to x of omega, then E is equal to x of n whole square, that is energy of a signal, summation from minus infinity to plus infinity x of n whole square is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral x of omega whole square d omega for a period of 2 pi. See here, integral is not taken over total integral. Integral for a period of 2 pi. Whatever x of omega you are going to get, whole square d omega. What is this term x of omega? X of omega whole square is known as energy density spectrum of a signal x of n. What is this term? Can any one of you tell what is the meaning of the term energy density spectrum? What is the meaning? What information it will give? Suppose I'll give a graph and say that this is the energy density spectrum of a particular signal. What information that graph is giving it to you? Can anybody tell? What is the meaning of energy density spectrum? See here, energy density spectrum means it is a graph which indicates energy, what is the energy of a signal per frequency. Okay, energy per frequency. So let us say there are F1, F2, F3, F4 frequencies. Let us assume like that. So energy at F1 is 10, energy at F2 is 5, energy at F3 is 6, energy at F4 is 7, like this. So if 5 is the energy at F1, therefore energy per spectrum is 5 by F1. So this much energy is contained in this frequency. Okay. Can any of you tell why I should know all these things? Why I should know what is the energy density? What is the use? I can happily do this one, x of n whole square. I can just square the numbers and get the answer. Na? Why I should know energy density spectrum? Anybody? Yeah, Kokila? Tell me. Whatever you know, you tell, no problem. Why I should know energy density spectrum? Proof is secondary. We'll do the proof. But why I should know this one?
Because a signal can be split into many.
See here, any signal can be split into multiple components. So multiple components will contain, each component will contain different amount of energy. So what I'm doing, let us say I'm designing a filter. So I'm designing a filter to pass low frequencies. So maximum information is contained in the low frequency signal, but maximum energy is contained in the high frequency signal. Look at this one very carefully. So let us say drum beats are a very high frequency notes you consider. They contain maximum energy. But human voice, when you talk in a low tone or normal tone, your signal contains very less energy. If you shout or if you scream, the voice will be very high amplitude. Okay, but it's a shrill voice, then that will contain maximum energy. So higher frequency signal contains maximum energy. Lower frequency signals will contain least energy. Okay, so suppose that I want to design a telephone system which you want to transmit. One very simple question I'll ask you. Most of you heard radios or the television, or let us say you are talking somebody with a phone. Okay, some song you are playing in the phone. Which will be very clear? Song played in a radio or song heard in a landline phone? Which one will be very clear to you?
Song heard in a radio.
Okay, why?
Because
Song?
these
Ah,
signals are directly sent to our ears.
okay, see here, in a telephone, we limit the bandwidth around to 3 to 3.4 kilohertz, that's all. Because we limit the bandwidth, what happens? Only some signals are passed. All the signals which contain drum beats, high frequency signals are completely attenuated by telephone cable. Therefore, they are not at all transmitted. Therefore, maximum signal is lost in transmission of telephone cable. That's why it is difficult to understand a song or a person's voice in a telephone than when he speaks in a radio, because radio has a large bandwidth, so all the high frequency signals are sent. That's why you must know, suppose you are designing a telephone signal, you will compromise completely on high frequency. High frequency signals are maximum eliminated. But if you want to design a musical system which you want to broadcast, you have to give attention for the high frequency signal. So the spectrum of the signal tells you what is the energy content in each signal. So by seeing the energy content in the signal, you will be able to tell whether you need only first 25% or 50% or 75%. That is the need of the system. So for broadcasting or high frequency signal modulation signals, you transmit 80% of the signals. For just communication purpose, let's say telephone, you transmit only 40% of the signals. There you save the bandwidth. So depending on application, you choose the frequency spectrum. That's what is the meaning of this one. So by knowing the frequency spectrum, you can choose your media. Understand this one? So that is a very important purpose. You must know why frequency spectrum is very much important. Okay, and the frequency spectrum is important for that purpose. Now once again, I'll go the same proof. E is equal to x of n whole square. That is equal to summation from minus infinity to plus infinity x of n into x star of n. Okay. So it's a property just because of the conjugate. X plus jy into x minus jy will give me x square plus y square. That is root of x square plus y square whole square. That is modulus square. That's why I written x of n into x star of n. From the definition of I dt of t, we have x of n is equal to 1 by 2 pi x of omega e power j omega n d omega. Now what I will do, I have x of n, but I don't have anything for x star of n. Therefore, what I will do, I'll take the conjugate of this one. This I'll write it as x star of n is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral for a period of 2 pi. I'll take star, it will become x star of omega e power minus j omega n, but integral variable will remain unchanged. You are not integrating with minus omega d omega. It is only wherever omega is there. Here x of omega j omega translates to x of minus j omega, and x of omega translates to x star of omega. So x star of n, let us put this 2 in equation 1. So E is equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. X of n I have retained as it is, and instead of x star of n, I am putting all this expression. So 1 by 2 pi x star of omega integral for a period of 2 pi into e power minus j omega n d omega. Therefore, now procedure is once again same, just like a previous problem. 1 by 2 pi integral for a period of 2 pi x star of omega is taken outside, and the summation is sent inside from minus infinity to plus infinity x of n into e power minus j omega n d omega. So this is equal to 1 by 2 pi. Okay, x star of omega is as it is. Now the term x of n into e power minus j omega n will give me x of omega. Okay, so this is the same old definition whatever we heard for x of omega. So I'm retaining x of omega. So what is x of omega into x star of omega? It will become x of omega whole square. Okay, modulus of x of omega whole square into d omega. Therefore, this proves the Parseval's theorem. Any doubt you have? Any doubt in this theorem?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, look at the conjugation theorem. This will be very useful to us. If x of n translates to x of omega, then x star of n translates to x star of minus omega. So only difference is if input becomes complex conjugate, output will also become a complex conjugate, but only difference is omega gets replaced by minus omega. Now, let us consider y of n is equal to x star of n, then y of omega is equal to, I'll write y of n into e power minus j omega n. I'll take the same previous formula. This is equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Y of n is equal to x star of n into e power minus j omega n. Okay, y of n gets replaced by x star of n e power minus j omega n. So now I'll write x of n e power j omega n. Okay, total this one I'll put star. So x of n will become x star of n, e power j omega n will become e power minus j omega n. Therefore, x of n e power j omega n whole star I'll take. This is equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n. Now look at the change what I had done. Plus j is written as minus j into minus 1, that is e power minus j into plus omega is written as minus omega. So omega is written as minus of minus omega, so it will become minus j into minus omega n whole star. Now it is same as, let us take minus omega equal to p. Then what will happen? X of n e power minus j p n. That is nothing but x of omega. But only difference is omega gets replaced by minus omega. So this is x of minus omega whole star as it is. Therefore, y of omega will become x star of minus omega. Did you follow the proof? Any doubt you have?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, time reversal. It's a property which you already know. X of n translates to x of omega, then x of minus n translates to x of minus omega. Look here, if wherever n changes to minus n, omega changes to minus omega. That's all. Okay, so there is nothing change. Y of omega is equal to y of n into e power minus j omega n, n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Once again, I'll take this summation. Y of n is nothing but x of minus n e power minus j omega n. Now what I will do, I'll put minus n equal to m. Therefore, look at the summation. Instead of n, I have minus m. Therefore, m changes from infinity to minus infinity. X of m into e power j omega minus n will become equal to m. This is equal to, now interchange the order of summation. Remember, if you interchange the order of summation, there is no change in the value of the summation. But if you interchange the order of the summation, sorry, not the values of the integral, then integral will get a minus sign. That's the difference between integral and summation. Now I am interchanging the upper limit and lower limit. So how m equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, x of m into e power minus j, look here, minus j omega. Instead of plus m, I'll make minus m. So totally it will become plus only. Minus of minus is plus. I'll write minus j omega into minus m. So it is nothing but x of m e power minus j omega m only. Only difference is m gets replaced by minus m. So this is nothing but x of e power minus j omega. That is nothing but x of minus omega. Either you can write e power minus j omega or you can write x of minus omega. So if x of n translates to x of minus n, x of omega translates to x of minus omega. That's all is the change between the previous to this one. Are you able to understand? Now, let's take some simple problems. This section, find the DTFT x of omega of the signal x of n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So what does the arrow indicate? Anybody? What is the arrow indicating?
N value will be equal to 0.
0 at the arrow. Okay. Now what he is asking, evaluate x of omega at omega equal to 0. Now what are the limits of this one? So first I'll write x of omega is equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n into e power minus j omega n. Now, what is the limit of your summation now? What is the limit of your summation? Minus 2 to plus 2. Why it is minus 2? Why it is minus 2? Because this point is 0, previous one is minus 1, and this will become minus 2. Similarly, when this is 0, next point will become 1 and next point will become 2. Therefore, the summation limits are from minus 2 to plus 2, x of n e power minus j omega n. Now what I will do, I'll simply put the values of n in this equation and write the answer. So x of minus 2 is 1 into e power j omega 2. So put n equal to minus 2. Therefore, it will become j omega 2. Next, x of minus 1 is 2 into e power j omega minus 1. That is e power j omega. Plus x of 0, n equal to 0. Therefore, x of 0 is 3. X of 0 is 3 and e power j0 is 1 plus x of 1 is 2 into e power minus j omega and n is 1, therefore e power minus j omega, plus x of 2 is equal to 1 e power minus j omega into 2. Therefore, now what I will do, I'll rearrange the terms. First I'll take 3 and I'll take e power j2 omega. See here, e power j2 omega and e power minus 2j omega this side, plus 2 e power j omega plus 2 e power minus j omega this side. So power 2 j omega one side, power j omega one side you take. Now what happens? E power jx plus e power minus jx, that is nothing but 2 cos of x. So I'll write 2 cos of, what is x here? 2 omega. Same way, here I have already 2, I'll get one more 2, I'll get 2 into 2, 4 cos of omega. Therefore, this is your x of omega. He is asking evaluate x of omega at omega equal to 0. Put omega equal to 0. This quantity will become 1, cos of 0 is 1, and here also cos of 0 equal to 1. Therefore, 3 plus 2 plus 4, that will give you 9. Did you follow the problem? Now, we'll go to one more. DTFT of the following signals. X of n equal to 0.5 raised to n plus 2 into u of n. So once again, I'll write the basic equation. And now u of n is a one which starts from 0 and proceeds to infinity. Therefore, n will become 0 to infinity. 0.5 raised to n plus 2. U of n is 1 e power j minus j omega n. Now what happens? 0.5 raised to 2 will be a constant. So that I taken outside, and summation n equal to 0 to infinity 0.5 e power minus j omega whole raised to n. This is equal to 0.5 square, that is 1 by 0.25, that is 1 by 4. What is Fourier transform of a e power minus j omega? A e power minus j omega is 1 by 1 minus a e power minus j omega. So this is 1 into 1 minus 0.5 e power minus j omega. Okay, otherwise what you can remember? 0 summation n equal to 0 to infinity of a power n. What is a power n? 1 by 1 minus a. 1 in the numerator, denominator 1 minus a. Okay, did you follow this one? Or you can write, instead of 0.5 you can write 1 by 2 also. Choice is yours. Did you follow this one? Or any doubt you have? Any doubt here?
No, sir.
Okay. Now we'll pick up one more, which is also very similar to this one. N into half power 2n e power minus j omega n. Now what I will write? I'll write n 1 by 2 square you do first. That will become 1 by 4 power n e power minus j omega n. So now once again it will become a power n. So first to obtain, directly write the answer. Fourier transform of a power n u of n is nothing but 1 by 1 minus a e power minus j omega. But what is Fourier transform of n into x of n? It is minus d by d omega into x of omega. That is nothing but equal to a by 1 minus a whole square. You can directly write the answer, or you can do the differentiation and write the answer. So whatever you have here, write a. This is your a. I written on the numerator, divided by 1 minus a whole square. Okay, like this you can directly write the answer. Otherwise, n into a power n u of n directly translates into a by 1 minus a whole square. So there is a result directly given. You can use that result and write, but otherwise you can use a differentiation property and write the answer also. Okay. So we'll stop here.